Assalamualaikum guys, welcome back to our SADA education program. As you know that I was looking into the leverage funding in Islamic banking, and to just highlight the danger that will expose the Islamic bank to the same problem that we saw in the US regional bank. So this withdrawal risk is something that Islamic bank must not feel comfortable with, because maybe their situation are much different from those faced by Silicon Valley and Signature Bank. But still, we have to be aware there must be a strong oversight over this issue, so that the Islamic bank can prepare itself from impending issue related to leverage lending, as what we saw have impacted the US bank today. But let us just look at the so-called development, how this came to being in the USA. As we know that 10 years of low interest rate in the US have spiked inflation up to 9%, and the Fed's pursue to fight inflation by rising interest rate, now at 4.7%. So in order to contain inflation or to reduce inflation to the targeted rate of 2%, the Feds have pursued the contraction monetary policy or quantitative tightening to increase interest rate, which is now at 4.75%. But this has risen cost of doing business in general, as people withdraw deposits to pay for higher expenses, which is one. And then we have the high net worth depositor withdrawing their money to purchase high yielding treasuries, because treasuries are giving higher rates, at the money market rate of 4.75%, but deposit rate are still very low relative to the Fed's rate, and thus we can see the massive withdrawals of deposit. In the case of First Republic Bank, the amount was at $107 billion withdrawals, right? So high net worth depositor withdrew their money to purchase high yielding deposit treasuries. Banks are not able to pay for these massive withdrawals, as bond holding drop in value, as in the case of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. So the latest casualty is the First Republic Bank. So it went under receivership of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, and bought over by JP Morgan. We know that very well. So First Republic Bank lost up to US 102 billion in deposit. So investors pulling their money and selling shares in drove. Share prices dropped, or plunged by more than 50%. After the report of the massive deposit plunge. This is the second largest banking failure in the USA after Washington Mutual back in 2008. So this is essentially what we are trying to warn banks that is operating on leverage lending. So if the Islamic bank is able to dilute leveraging of funds or funding by instituting the investment account funding, then this kind of withdrawal can be contained, or it can be diluted, and we will not see the adverse impact on Islamic bank as what we saw in the US regional bank. All right. Let us look at leverage funding in Islamic banking, which is undertaken via the tawaruq system. Usually, leverage is based on a loan contract with interest. in Islamic banking, this loan contract is replaced by tawaruq deposit contract. That is a sale contract that defies the rule of sale by locking the master sale agreement CPO price to the master purchase agreement CPO price. So this is done to cancel off market risk that can destabilize the contract, thus enabling it to achieve the objective and benefits of leveraging with riba. So the tawaruq system is instrumental in promoting and sustaining leverage funding in Islamic banking, and they were able to do that, by virtue of the locking of the CPO prices for both MPA and MSA, but doing so have actually defied the market forces. And so this is the issue that we would like to further look into what can be done in order to pacify or dilute the tawaruq exposure in funding, so that if we have any kind of massive withdrawals in the banking system in Asia or in Malaysia, at least the Islamic bank will not be impacted seriously as what we can see taking place in the conventional banking. All right, we will stop here. Then I will continue further to look into the impact of the leverage lending on Islamic banking. So thank you very much. I see you again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.